Tonight, the Minneapolis Police Department swore in new officers.
And that includes its first ever female Somali officer. Ben Henry was there and shares what she and other recruits hope to accomplish. Lots of hope there tonight, Ben.
There is. The department now has its first ever Somali woman officer and permanent resident, which is a non-citizen who's lived in the community since she was a child. Lindsay, you said it, one word that was used a lot tonight, hope. Mayor Jacob Fry says he sees and feels the department building back up, not just in numbers, but in culture. The department now has 23 more officers. That includes 11 recruits and 12 lateral officers. Those are people joining MPD from other agencies. Some have more than a decade of experience.
Just as they're about to take their oaths today before all of you and before God, I know that I have a sacred obligation to do that all I can for them. And I pledge to you tonight that I will do everything within my power to take care of them.
Joining the department, the first ever Somali woman officer, Ikran Muhammad, and permanent resident, Officer Leslie Vera. Vera is a non-citizen. And Chief Brian O'Hara says she was able to join the force due to a recent law change. The two reflected on a big night and new career.
I didn't see anybody that really looked like me, Latina. I'm sure there was, but I didn't see that. And I was like, I want to be like them. And I want to have that face for my people that look like me.
This is what I wanted to do, and it was very challenging. That's why I'm here, and I want to be to be a role model for girls who look like me so they can say, I can do it too.
Special guests tonight was the family of Officer Jamal Mitchell, who was killed in the line of duty in May. The family received a very warm welcome. Also, part of the graduation, 4 new Minneapolis Park police officers, Kevin. So growth all around.
Yeah, thank you, Ben, very much. Those are the kind of recruits MPD needs.
This is incredible, folks. An immigrant's experience will advance our vision, mission, and values to protect our clients' legal and human rights and enable us to more readily utilize my goal that our employees fully represent the demographics of the population that we serve, or see continued. The new policy said that ending the citizenship requirement will also help bring in workers who can speak multiple languages, thus connecting to vulnerable communities and establishing new connections to critical services. And I think part of this article has been cropped, or this is the replacement article, because the actual headline photo they have was gone. That's what I get for waiting 2 months to report this story. Sort by the best. Ohio Republic writes, quote, "This is a very big deal, my friends, because if Los Angeles County can get away with this, then other counties will follow suit. And before you know it, we'll have a nation full of people working in government who aren't even citizens. Can you imagine the chaos that would ensue? We'd have people coming in from all over the world taking their government jobs, and who knows what they would do with that power. Think about it. We could have people from countries like North Korea, Iran, and China working in our government. They could easily use their positions to spy on us, or even worse, to sabotage our government from within. This is a grave threat to our national security, and it must be stopped. We cannot allow our government to be overrun by people who are not even citizens of this country. We must do whatever it takes to protect our government, our way of life, from this grave threat." 265 upvotes and only 1 downvote. I'm surprised. Normally you got these trolls and foreigners get on here and they will give a lot of thumbs down. I guess they haven't seen this article or just ignoring it. Moondoggy794 writes, quote, "Soon we will not have a country. I'm usually not a pessimist, but what Biden and his administration and the far-left Congress have done in such a short time period has me thinking this way. If we still have a country after he leaves office, hopefully we will have a president who loves America and is strong. This disaster can be turned around, and our historians will tell the future Americans how bad the Biden administration was for our country." 52 upvotes, no downvotes. 4 replies. Liberals are losers writes, quote, "What do you think the Dems have been trying to do ever since Obama was in office? Destroy America as we know it today. That's what." End of quote. 7 upvotes, no downvotes. Lion Libs writes, quote, "It's hard for any Republican politician to undo the mess Democrats make while they're in office. This time, it may be unfixable." The Central Scrutinizer 662 writes, "Civil war could be the only thing that will stop and reverse the Marxist movement." I have to agree. Minxie 0528 writes, quote, "We must rise up now. Time to organize." End of quote. Rem_SC writes, quote, "We have U.S. citizens in the government who are enemies of the state. This will just be another layer." End of quote. I have to agree with that. Patriot66 writes, Quote, all qualified are leaving California. Democrats have run into the ground. Soon the cartel will own California. End of quote. 61 upvotes, no downvotes, not one. I'm surprised. Oma2 Max 835 writes, quote, well, why not? China's buying our land, our manufacturing is done overseas. Anyone can come across our borders. Crime is rampant. Children are being taught everything except the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, etc. We're on our way to not being a country, so what difference does it make who's being elected? End of quote. 61 upvotes, no downvotes. Not one downvote. Wow. Filling in, Ohio writes, quote, yes, I'm a firm believer that only citizens should have the right to purchase land. Many other countries have that rule. End of quote. And that includes Mexico. If you are a foreigner not of Mexican or Spanish descent, you cannot buy land within 35 miles of the border, any Mexican property whatsoever. Stinger 697 writes, quote, you just made me wonder, when China takes over this country, will we be allowed to move to China and fix it and live there? End of quote. 14 upvotes, no downvotes. 2 replies, and before I read the next reply, well, let me read this one. Robespierre's neck writes, quote, nah, they'll start wiping us out. Go read the secret speech of General Chi Hyoshin. End of quote. Big Jew writes, quote, who is selling America to China? White America. End of quote. You know, he's kind of right. I've read enough comments. I'll put the screenshots up here. You can read it for yourself. This incredible, incredible story. So, and it will spread to other counties. And then when Los Angeles County gets away with this, then Riverside County is going to do it. And Riverside County does it, then next thing is San Diego County is going to do it. I'm not sure about Ventura, but we have a large Hispanic population here too. And, you know, they want the jobs. I mean, they don't care about qualifications. They just want the job. So, I got to say that something's got to be done about this. But you know what? They're too busy bashing Trump, bashing DeSantis for sending the migrants to Martha's Vineyard, and you see how they reacted. I mean, within less than 2 days, they got rid of those 48. Well, I heard it was 50 migrants from Venezuela. It's NIMBY, not my backyard. That's a different video for a different day. But I'm here to say that this cannot stand. This cannot be allowed to happen. Something has to happen. There was no discussion. There was no public forum for this. They just plain did it. They're ramming it through. I'm going to close my video by saying this. Okay. I never cared about immigrants coming to this country because I understand a lot of them want to come to work, but that's a small minority of them. That's a small fraction of them. Those field workers are 1.5% of all the illegal aliens that work in the orchards and fields here we see on 101 South going from Ventura to LA County. They're not filling up the prisons. They're not filling up the parole boards, the halfway houses, the morgues for either being killed, shot, or killing someone else, or taking fentanyl, or trafficking fentanyl, drug muling fentanyl, whatever. Catalytic converter theft, and it happened to my truck. But the cameras has got 3 Hispanic guys, but they couldn't identify them. So even though they got pretty good face shots of them, they still don't know who they are. I mean, that set the insurance company back $1,800 for my Ford Explorer in 2003. Long story short, when they can't get a job or they want a job, or a lot of them come here to commit crimes, just like Trump said they did, we're racist and we're bigots for saying that. So now my stance is I want all illegal immigrants, I want them deported. I want all visa overstayers deported. A lot of them get these colleges, they sweet talk some dumb broad, and then they get married or whatever, and they have a kid with them, and the next thing you know, their family gets involved. That's happened millions of times right here in Southern California. And now they got people backing them. Well, we can't get rid of this guy, can't separate families. Well, let me tell you, if I commit a crime, they're going to separate me really quick from my family. They're not going to give a shit about if I can't see my family anymore. They're not going to care. But that's okay. This has got to be stopped. I don't care how it gets stopped. I don't want them voting in the elections. They've been doing that too. They've been doing that for 50 years. And now with the mail-in ballots, they just hand them the ballots. They get them mailed out. They print up extra ones like they did in Pennsylvania, just hand it to them, and they turn them in. And everybody wonders how Joe Biden won that election. Well, I'm telling you how they won that election. It's through illegal aliens that, hey, they'll give you $5 for your ballot. This is why I want the voting to go back the way it was designed to be. You get on the bus, get an Uber, get a friend to take you, walk, get your own vehicle, go to this polling booth, you show your voter ID. California used to have voter ID until 1986. Show your voter ID, vote, and go home. You show up in person. None of this mail-in ballot, and they used the pandemic to do this, and they got away with it because even Republicans wanted Trump gone because they're in poor states. Mitch McConnell, he's from Kentucky. He's one of the poorest states in the country. And they saw the plan of opening up the Treasury, paying all those pensions that are unfunded liability pensions that weren't going to get paid for the workers that they overhired for 50 years. Now California's got surplus, and Gavin Newsom's patting himself on the back. Well, he only got that surplus because Joe Biden raided the Treasury and gave New York, Illinois, and California a lot of that money. I'm here to tell you this is a bad, bad deal. And Trump was on the right path, but they don't want to hear it. When words don't work, what's next? 1861, words didn't work. What happened? Leave the comments below. Thank you. I'm Jack Remington, host of the Jack Remington Political Analyst channel. Very sad article here, very sad news. This has got to stop, folks. I don't care how it stops. It's got to get stopped. Thank you. Have a good day.